Hi, and welcome to the Kelly Kitley podcast, America's Social Worker Unfiltered, where every week I have hopeful, honest, and deeply human conversations with changemakers. And today I am totally fangirling because I have Christie Tate, who is the author of Group: How One Therapist and a Circle of Strangers Saved My Life, which is a New York Times bestseller and one of Reese Witherspoon's book club picks. And I am so happy she said yes. Thank you for being here today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. We're gonna have a good chat.
Well, and I was telling you before we started recording that I got your book the day it was available, and I have a copy right here. And I read it in one sitting. I mean, I'm a
Mm.
therapist and have been a former patient as well. And so it was just so relatable. And what I really want to focus on today is the power of group therapy and how it can be such a transformative experience. Because oftentimes I work with individuals and couples, and anytime I refer somebody to a group, usually the answer is, "Oh, no, I'm very private. I don't wanna share anything with the group." Individual therapy is great. Um, but you rewrote the landscape of that, and so I recommend your book to a lot of the people I work with, and as a person who identifies as somebody in the 12-step program, I I'm so excited. I'm giddy to talk to you today. And if we can just start by sharing your experience, strength, and hope. And you are a high achiever, and I laugh at this because you're so funny too. That you no longer say you were the first top graduate in your law school at Loyola.
Yeah.
So letting go of
I
that identity is huge. I know.
yes, I think my last addiction may be achievement and striving. So I'll let you know when I'm on the other side of that.
Oh, seriously. So can you list your addictions, so to speak?
Yeah, sure. Um, my first awareness of my relationship to addiction was I had an eating disorder, which this would have been, I mean, I started binging and purging. Um, I was binging first and then I discovered purging. So it would have been like 1986 or 7. People were not, I had no acknowledgement or I had no knowledge that an eating disorder was a form of addiction. I thought addiction was drugs, alcohol, period, PCP and Jim Beam, So it wasn't until I got to college and the bulimia really, really became seemingly life threatening, fainting in the shower is pretty dangerous.
Mhm.
And I got to the 12-step program for the eaters and I was like, oh, and people were using words like food addict, sugar addict. And I really identified with that. It was a paradigm that worked for me.
Mhm.
And then, you get my head cleared a little from the food stuff, and I realized, oh my goodness, I have a problem with falling in love with alcoholics. So I ended up in the program for friends and families of alcoholics.
As we do.
And-
Mhm.
yeah, as one does. And so within those two, I've been able to address like exercise and perfection and there's so many permutations. I guess that a lot of that is symptoms, right? Symptoms of
Sure,
addiction
sure.
and they can be treated in any of the rooms and I feel really lucky I got there when I did and I continue to go and it continues to work for me and I couldn't be more grateful.
Mm. And you wrote this incredible book. Like, y I know that you were practicing law, and
Hmm.
you also got your master's at the University of Chicago, in humanities. And so how did you kind of break into practicing law and then writing essays? And I mean, you've written two memoirs. The other one I didn't mention is B.F.F, which is a memoir of friendship lost and found, which I haven't read yet. But like, how does one pivot to that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for me, I got into law because I was using achievement as a way to mask all kinds of loneliness and mostly loneliness and fear of intimacy. And law is a great place to go if you're scared of people. because you can just put your head down and work, 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 work. You
Hmm.
don't have to, but that was my specifically stated goal. I thought I was going to die alone because I just knew I was going to date alcoholic after alcoholic after alcoholic, and I was going to ultimately end up alone. I thought, well, I might as well have some money. And so these were terrible thought patterns, but they got me where I ended
Yeah,
up. So
absolutely.
and I was a good student and I like school. I like following directions. I like pathways. I like channels. So law is great for that. I go to law school. I did very, very well, which looks great on paper and it opened lots of doors, but I also did really, really well because I was hiding. I was hiding from the world. I was hiding from relationships. I was hiding from every form of human interaction. Oh, I have to study. I have to study. And I overstudied and so it was a mixed blessing. It's a great outcome. It was like a little bit torturous road. And by the time I got to law school, I mean, by the time I got to my second year of law school, that's when I started treatment in group therapy, which is what the book is about. I
Mhm.
already had the 12-step thing going. Then I added group therapy, which was like a power wash to my psyche. And at that point, there I had lots of support from my therapist from the group to embrace law and to sky's the limit. What do you want to do in the field? And I just always knew I picked it so I wouldn't be sad to die alone, which is like suspect. And
Mhm.
I had always wanted a creative life and writing. I didn't know anything about that. I'd never really seen it.
Mhm.
And so I just started writing on the side. And when Group came out and Reese Witherspoon puts her sticker on your book in
Mhm.
2020,
Mhm.
you can I was able, not you, I can make decision. I was able to say maybe I'll give this writing life a try, my once wild and precious life. The what I feel like it's important to say about that is I also am married to a partner who has a very good job. So I had creative freedom to be like, okay, I don't want to practice law anymore. I want to be a writer. It seems unfair to put that out there and not talk a little bit about the economic realities because,
Thank you so much for saying that because most authors, speaking for myself, it's a labor of love unless you
yeah,
get that sticker, you know, or
right.
or the New York Times bestseller, whatever it is,
Yeah.
that it is, it's blood, sweat, and tears, and we supplement that with other income as
Yes.
well. So thank you for being realistic about that. Um,
Yeah.
and how did you get the sticker? How did you get Reese Witherspoon's attention?
You talk about I'm still in shock that that happened, and it was like 7 years ago when I found out. So I wrote this book. I have a wonderful team that with Avid Reader Press, they're amazing people. They know what they're doing. But I live in Chicago. I don't know the publishing world. I'm not like some darling who came out of some fancy program. I was a lawyer and a nobody who wrote a book in Chicago and flung it out into the universe. And I ended up with a wonderful press, and they called me a few days before and not a few days before. They called me in July. The book came out in October, and they're like,
Uh-huh.
"Well, Reese Witherspoon is picking your book," and I like flew out of my body. I never dreamed, like the book is very explicit. I had a lot of work to do sexually and with boundaries, and
Mhm.
there's some pretty graphic scenes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way America's sweetheart, Reese Witherspoon, is down with what I'm doing. And the answer is yes. Like she's committed to mental health. She the way that she explained it to me, we had a conversation over Zoom. She was like, this is really relatable. A lot of high functioning women date men who are not a good match or worse, abusive or uninterested in a relationship, whereas that's all I wanted.
Mhm.
And she changed my life. She changed my life. And I don't know how the back, I think I surely every publisher sends her team their books hoping to get the sticker. Same with Jenna Hager Bush or Oprah.
Yeah, yeah.
And somehow mine filtered up. I mean, there's so many wonderful books every year that come out, and I 100% won the lottery.
Well, and with that, thank you, because I am the ultimate hustler and represent myself and, you know, have tried angles to reach a larger population. But what I think is so important is not the glamour and you know, Reese Witherspoon endorsed your book. That is amazing, of course. But the fucking reach that you have
Mm,
to
yeah.
change people's lives. is
Yes.
what is so key. And when you have somebody like that who is backing your work, it changes the
Mhm.
conversation in pop culture and in our society. So that's why I think that is so cool. And admire that happened for you because I hope she wants to make a movie out of your story too with
I do
her
too.
production company. So
Call me, Reese. Let's follow up.
hello, sunshine.
Yes, exactly.
Um, so that's pretty incredible. What do you have on deck work-wise in the wings? I mean, I think at one point you were like, I have 4 books on my laptop. Like, hmm.
Oh my God. Youth, youth. Oh, so funny. I am writing a book. I want to investigate how a person who's addicted to an alcoholic relationship gets well, like an Al-Anon. We see so many books, fiction, nonfiction, about the journey of sobriety. The beats are fascinating, and there's all kinds of stories about that. I have not seen the book of recovery when you're the person who's sinking alongside an addict. And
Mhm.
I want that those books out in the world. I tried it as nonfiction. It wasn't working.
Okay.
It wasn't the right. So now I'm working on a novel about an alcoholic relationship, and the viewpoint is the person in love with the addict who's sinking down, and she's going to have to decide how she rises, whether he does or not.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
I hope so. I'm trying to make it incredible.
You will. You will. And you do have a background in English, right? In
Yes.
undergrad, you studied English at Texas A&M. I mean, just the
Yes.
accolade. Like, you are a very intelligent woman.
Thank you. If only that was all it took, if it didn't also require discipline
Yes.
and a tough skin. But yeah, I'm
Mhm,
grateful. I
mhm.
hope, when someone asked me yesterday, I was doing an event for a group and they said, "Oh, you went into group with these very specific goals." I wanted a boyfriend with good hygiene. I wanted children. I wanted a job that I could support myself, like very concrete,
Yeah.
tangible things. They're like, "What do you want now?" And I'm 52 now. The things that my heart longs for, like purpose, I mean, it's so much more mushy, right? Like, am I using what God, my higher power, what I
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
God, am I using that as I'm supposed to? Am I doing God's will? Am I in the right places doing the right things? Like,
Mhm.
I know time is finite in a way I didn't know when I was 30 or 40. And so I want to I want to be part of the solution. I want to be creative and also good to the world and the world around me. So that's a little harder to to like to demonstrate than, like, do I or do I not have a boyfriend, you know?
Oh my gosh. I am like so teary-eyed because you are as amazing in real life as you are on paper. And if that can be like a baseline for us, right? Like, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? Whatever that is. Um, and you were skeptical, excuse me, about going into group therapy as well.
Oh, yeah, I was hostile, actually. I was very mad. I didn't have much money. I didn't want to share my therapy hour with 6 weirdos. Like, I was so mad that I didn't have enough money to go do the top shelf, get a therapist who just kicks back and gives me all his attention. So I was pretty bitter. I did it for 2 reasons. One, I could afford group because it was way cheaper than individual.
Yeah.
And number two, there was a woman in my life. I knew her from the 12-step world, and I saw her changing. I saw the light go on in her eyes. I saw her talking about her relationships in new ways. She seemed to be so much more calm and fulfilled and emotionally alive. And
Hmm.
I wanted that. I didn't think I could get it through group, even though that's how she got it. I was just ornery because I
Yeah.
was in a lot of pain and I didn't want to waste any more time.
Hmm. Hmm. So why did it work for you?
Well, I mean, one of the things, I was in a lot of pain, and the big changes I've made in my life is I was in a lot of pain, and what I was doing became impossible. Like, that happened with my eating, with my relationships. And when I went into group, I was in enough pain that I was willing to, like, try new things. To When the Dr. Rosen, my therapist, when he said to me, "Why don't you tell the group what you ate yesterday?" Now, I'd already been in the food program for 6 or 7 years. I thought I was an old pro.
Uh-huh.
I had no idea how much shame I was carrying. I had the thought of telling people, these 6 people in my group, my food. I just was like, I'd rather strip naked, like literally strip naked, which highlighted I had a shame problem.
Hmm.
I was binging on apples every night, like 12 apples every single night. It was a weird secret. I somehow mentally convinced myself I was still doing great in the food program because it wasn't sugar,
Hmm.
but I
You
spent
weren't
all
throwing
of my
up.
money. Yeah, and I went, yeah, exactly. It was a very like put the cork in the bottle situation.
Yeah.
But it meant like I didn't have money because apples are expensive. Wait, I could never do it now, but also I couldn't have a roommate because then they would know. I was like so guarded, and that broke me open. And once I got I started telling another woman in my group every night what I ate, every night hating it, not wanting to do it. And I saw myself have a different relationship to food. And once I notch a success, personal growth wise, I'm in. Like, I want more. I want more. I want what else is possible? What else can you do for me, Dr. Rosen, and this band of misfit toys that I've joined?
Oh my gosh. That is beautiful. It really is. And I think anybody who is listening who wants to dip their toe in, reading the book will make it, I don't want to say easier, but like it's such a place that people don't really know what goes on in those rooms. And
Right.
you lay it out so that people feel less afraid, I think. So if
Yeah.
that's the first step they take, then I think that's a great first step.
I agree. And I always assure readers there's lots and lots of group therapists out there. Some of them, lots of therapists do both.
Mhm.
Dr. Rosen is an iconoclast. He does some wacky stuff. First of all, I could have said no. I have learned how to say no to some of his harebrained schemes. So
Amazing.
that's the first one. The second point I always tell readers is like, you don't have to have the wackiest of the wack. Like, go find someone who, there's groups that have lots of boundaries. There were less traditional boundaries in my group. We were allowed to fraternize outside of group. Lots of groups don't have that.
Mhm.
We were also allowed to, like, we didn't have to sign contracts, and we don't keep confidentiality. There's reasons for both ways of doing it. And if you're a person curious about group and you read my book, you might be scared off forever. But what I would say is you
True.
might be interested in a group that has different boundaries,
Yes.
more boundaries, and there's nothing wrong. Those people get well. They
Mhm.
get well too, you know?
Mhm. Well, and I think the idea behind having this conversation and the resources I provide listeners is there are many paths to recovery, and being able to kind of explore what might work best for you is also part of the process. And holding on to things that you feel are working for you is so
Yeah.
important because, I think in my own journey, I was afraid, in Alcoholics Anonymous, that it was like, you do this or you will fail. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay. And I'm not a
totally.
rule follower, but as I've been sober longer, I've been able to kind of create some things that work best for me in conjunction with meetings and service and some
Yeah.
of the other core principles and values. Um, but I want to shift here for a minute because you said you're 52 years old, so you're just a couple of years older than me. We're middle-aged women,
Yeah.
presumably perimenopausal or
Oh
menopausal.
yeah.
And
Yep.
um, you know, I, I was thinking about you this weekend because my daughter just had prom, and I had seen a lot of women. I'm also in eating disorder recovery, and I had seen a lot of moms I hadn't seen for years since our kids were younger.
Hmm.
And my kids go to a very large public high school. There are 800, kids that go there, and I'm seeing a lot of moms I haven't seen in a long time.
Yep.
I didn't recognize because
Mm.
they were
Hmm.
so thin.
Oh
Pres-
God. I yes.
and I don't want to make assumptions, but with the Ozempic, I don't even know what to call it, normalcy for middle-aged women who've maybe gained 10 to 15 pounds and are looking at ways to take it off. I was like, I cannot wait to talk to Christie about this, because to
Yeah.
get your perspective on it, because I don't know what language you use in your recovery. If you feel like you've recovered from an eating disorder,
Mm,
if you are in recovery from an eating disorder, I know there's language shifts
yeah.
too. Um, what lens do you look at all of this from? And please share
Um,
some insight.
I will tell you, before this meeting with you today, I went to one of my food meetings. My entire 3 minute share was about GLP-1s because
How serendipitous.
I'm having a very hard time. I'm having a very, very hard time. It's very confusing for me.
Mhm,
What I assume is happening for me, because I mean, I saw the statistic 1 in 8 people are on a GLP-1, and I don't want to take that away from anybody. And it's extremely, extremely spiritually confounding and confusing for me that I had to apply spiritual principles. And I have the impression, because I don't think right around food and bodies. I just don't.
mhm,
So if what I say is offensive, yes, I agree. And it's been very confusing that, like, I had to do all this stuff, and the prayer and the meditation, blah, 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 work the
mhm.
steps. And like someone can get a pill from Costco or China or whatever. I feel, and I also, I am, it is what this is going to require from me
Mhm.
is a new spiritual awakening. We
Oh.
live in a world where there are these tools. I have a sponsee in the program. She calls me all the time. She doesn't live where I live.
Mhm.
She just sent me a picture last night. She is on these drugs, and we've talked about it. And I saw a picture of her, and I felt afraid by
Mhm.
and I'm like, I'm not supposed to body shame. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a higher power. She has those things. I am one of her tools. I share
Mhm.
my recovery with her.
Mhm.
I don't want to body shame. I also don't trust myself. Like I have a sister who's very, very thin. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Mhm.
Sure, let's be clear. Am I jealous? Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I am jealous. That's not a, I'm not person, like I have a normative body weight. No one's ever going to be like, you're so thin. I don't have that. And inside of me is an eating disorder. I say I am in recovery. I have an eating disorder. So when I see people sliding way down and barely eating, it lights up the part of my brain that tried to kill me with bulimia. So this is a perilous moment for me spiritually and in my relationships, and how I talk about it in meetings. I talk about it in group. There's a woman in my group who is taking a GLP-1, and she's just getting tiny, 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 tiny. And I am I'm having all the feelings I just described. And what my thought around this is, first, do no harm to myself or them. And I'm just listening. I don't have all the information. My most reptilian brain is dealing with this,
Uh-huh.
and I need to get stronger spiritual muscles to be in serenity on the planet with these drugs.
Wow, that is
I'm
a different angle.
I am none of this. This is might be this turns out to be, I'm so grateful for you for mentioning that. Like,
Mm,
it's hard to talk about. It's really hard to talk about.
yeah. It's very triggering too. Like, I want to look like that in my
A
15-pound
thousand percent.
perimenopausal weight gain, but it's a slippery slope. And not only that, I also wonder the lens that our children are looking at this from,
Yep.
that I'm seeing it marketed everywhere and even on
Yep.
TV. We were watching American Idol as a family, and it's like these commercials are on all the time. And I'm just
Yep.
like, the noise that they hear, and that everybody should look this way. And we're seeing it in
Yeah.
pop culture as well. But I think it's really damaging. Um,
I am so afraid that only certain kind of bodies are going to be considered acceptable.
mhm.
And what happened to, I feel like I'm being told all the time, fight your middle-aged belly. And part of me feels like I'm not much of a rebel at all. Like I'm a rule follower, but there's some rebellious streak inside of me that's like, no, I'm supposed to have a middle age. I am middle aged. I
Yes.
am middle aged. There's a
Yes.
reason why my body's doing what it's doing, and I'm just not sure I'm ready to buy into the cultural narrative that I have to work very hard to get rid of it or take a pill or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
which is not to say I don't want the drug to be taken away from people who it's saving their lives.
Absolutely.
I want to be allowed to be comfortable in my skin as it is with the choices that I've made. And that's always my work. That's been my work since day
Yes.
one. And it's still the work. So
Yes.
I don't
Body
know. It's like,
acceptance, self-love, radical acceptance. Like,
yeah,
can
totally.
we move
All those
there?
boring things.
Yeah. I love all of me.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Today I might like my lips a little more.
Yeah. Right. Right. There's parts I prefer over others.
That's an important conversation. So I love that that just kind of organically clicked too, and has been on both of our minds.
Yeah.
Um, so spirituality wise, that's the core foundation of your recovery.
I think it always has boiled down to that. Like it dances around as I like control. I like to be perfect. I like to people please. At the end of the day, do I have a spirituality and a higher power that allows me to take care of myself and to be good to the people around me and be available for relationships and that includes like activism and work and play and community and volunteering at school. Like, do I have a spirituality that allows me to connect with others and be a part of the larger world? Addiction for me really boiled down to isolation, secrets, and alienation.
Mm,
And so anything, the opposite of addiction for me is connection, which
mhm.
is why I like group and it's why I like talking to people about my work because if I can be connected, I can't do it without a spirituality because all my default settings are like go be alone. go go get something and eat it alone in a room that's dark and like shut the world out. And my spirituality shows me how to fling the door open and let the sun shine in. Hopefully, if I don't have to do it perfectly and I don't have to earn it,
Yeah.
but that's what seems to be happening.
And it's not your automatic wiring. As we say in
Totally.
cognitive behavioral therapy, we're not responsible for our first thought.
Right,
It's the
right.
preceding thought. So it's like, oh, okay, I'd like to do that, but I'm going to make a different choice. So,
Yes.
um, I am dropping this immediately. People have extra time this weekend, so I want them to listen and um, pick up both books. Your book is on my list this weekend, B.F.F. I can't wait to dive into that. And the link will be in the show notes for people to purchase it. Any last nuggets that you want to leave listeners with before we wrap?
I feel like I've heard from a lot of readers that they didn't know something I learned in group very early on was holding a secret, like keeping secrets for family or boyfriends or work or whatever, wherever you keep a secret, that's a way to participate in a toxic process. If you're holding the secret, you are quite likely to be holding shame. And I guess I just want readers to know you don't have to join a group to let go of shame or secrets. You can tell a friend, you can tell
Mhm.
a spouse, a partner, a clergy person. Like there's lots of ways to let go of secrets if you're not in a position for lots of different reasons to engage in like mental health treatment and
Mhm.
all of that.
Mhm.
If you're not there, you can you can at least use the principle of letting go of secrets by using people that you trust and dipping your toe into letting go of secrets outside of a therapeutic group.
Oh my gosh. And that's perfect because I highlighted that your therapist, Dr. Rosen, said you don't need a cure, you need a witness. And
Ooh,
that's
yeah,
exactly what you just said. So
right.
for
That's
people to
that's the
find their,
glory of it. Anybody can have, you don't have to pay for a witness. You can get a witness by being a person in the world in relationship with others.
Mhm, who can hold space and be compassionate. I think those are
Yeah,
key.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Pick the right person
Yeah.
because the wrong person is I've done that. It's not fun. We've all done that. Pick the right person who will hold you gently
Mm,
and confidentially, whatever you need. Pick the
yeah,
right person for you.
yeah. Thank you so much, Christy. This was a great way to start my weekend, and so refreshing.
Thank you. It's wonderful to talk to you, and I hope we cross paths soon.
Hey, in Chicago, I know the last thing I wanted to say too is you are always supporting other authors. You know, you're talking about other authors' books and showing up for other people. And are you leading writing retreats too? Do you have any of those in the docket anytime soon?
Yeah, I usually do two a year. One in the fall. In the fall, I always go to the Hudson Valley with a group of writers, if we've been going in like winter, early winter, when everyone's like sick of their towns.
Mhm.
This past year we went to Charleston. We may go to Nashville this year. So if people
Okay.
want information about that, they can find me on social media, and it's all levels. And I would love to meet new people if they're interested in a writing workshop.
Okay, great. Thank you. And for everybody listening, just a friendly reminder to be the change you wish to see in the world, whether that starts within your family, within your neighborhood, or a larger reach with the world. Thank you so much for listening.